To be honest, I don't know. I guess that's something I'm definitely gonna have to ask my parents sometime. Yeah. Supposed to be Levi at first, but got Cody instead, so.
You ever been to Cody, Wyoming?
No.
Oh,
Is it beautiful?
yes. And the most amazing set of museums there. The Buffalo Bill Cody Historical Center with the Plains Indians.
I bet you there's probably some pretty good hiking over there.
Oh, yeah.
I love hiking. That's
Yeah.
actually one of the reasons why I did my project.
When you hit Yellowstone and the Grand Tetons, make a little beach over Cody, Wyoming.
Definitely make sure I do that.
All right, so you know that your 10-minute mark
Yep,
is your
10 minutes.
magic number.
Yep.
When you get to 9, I'll hold this up. So you know you're at 9 minutes.
Yep.
If you make it to 13, I'll hold this up.
Yeah, 13 is
Go
my
all the
magic
way-
number.
Yeah. If you go all the way to 15, then I'll kind of politely say, let's go on to the questions at this point.
Yep.
And how you feeling? A little bit nervous?
Ah,
Awesome. Well, we're excited to hear
I love my
what you have to
project.
share. And so whenever you're ready, go ahead and kick us off.
Do you want me to adjust this so you can see it a little better?
I think that's
Okay, cool. All right. Over 2,000 people hike the Appalachian Trail every single year. Could you be one of them? Hi, my name is Cody Blizzard. I'm here to talk to you about the Appalachian Trail. Overview. I did my project on mainly through hiking the Appalachian Trail, but I spent a lot of my time actually researching the history behind the Appalachian Trail, because to me, you can't really hike a trail until you know the history and background of it, because there's so much rich history behind the Appalachian Trail. You definitely want to learn all about that before you go on the trail, because there's different places you can stop while you're on the way. Now, the reason why it was a stretch for me is because although I've hiked many trails before in my life, I've never through hiked an I've never through hiked a single trail. All my trails have been day hikes and stuff like that. So it's definitely a different experience hiking on the Appalachian Trail, because it's a completely different trail than anything I've ever been on in my life. And I spent a lot of my time researching about through hiking because I just thought it was interesting that people take 6 months out of their lives to complete such a major goal as to hiking the Appalachian Trail. My research and connection. I spent most of my research on hiking safety. The reason why I did that is because in order to hike the Appalachian Trail, you definitely, one of the most important factors is safety. Because the thing is instead of it being like a day hike, on a 6-month journey, you're back in places where it's not necessarily easy for rescue services to get back to. It's not like you can just call 911 and say, hey, I'm in the woods, can you come get me? You're a little bit out there, so it's definitely a very important thing. A big portion of hiking safety is pacing yourself. And the reason for that is because if you overstrain yourself, you're not going to be as conscious of your surroundings, which that's a major problem on the Appalachian Trail, because there's so many different dangers on the trail, like getting lost, wild animals. And if you're not at your best conscious state, you definitely might have a problem on the Appalachian Trail. The other part that I did was conserving the trail, which I absolutely fell in love with, surprisingly, because when I first got this subject, I didn't really think I was going to like the conserving, but I think that was probably one of my most favorite parts. In this picture right here, you can see me next to a tree. The cool thing about this is when conserving the Appalachian Trail, they like to use this term, the PATH likes to use this term. PATH is an organization that mainly maintains the trail, but they use this phrase, no trace, which basically means no matter what you do, you try your best to leave it so that it looks natural, basically so nobody just went back there. So this tree actually fell into part of the trail. So instead of cutting it up and throwing it down the hill and made it look like somebody was back there with a chainsaw, they left it and just rerouted the trail around it, which I thought was pretty interesting because they made it look natural. Setting. The setting was the mountain and the forest, but it wasn't just that. That's what I originally intended it or thought it was going to be. But when we got there after our 2-hour journey to Virginia, we sat down at a picnic table, we went over all the rules and stuff, and right after that we walked into the first portion of the trail. Now it's very thick and dense forest, so when you first get in there, it's not necessarily that your surroundings change, it's more of the terrain that changes. For instance, one second you could be walking on gravel, the next it could be clay, the next it could be sand. So basically that's one of the biggest things that you really have to watch out for in hiking safety, and the reason for that is because a lot of that stuff like gravel, clay, and sand, it can be loose terrain. So if you're not paying attention and you're next to a very steep ledge, you could fall and get hurt, and that's a very big problem because there's actually been a lot of people that have fallen and gotten hurt, and some people even got killed out on the Appalachian Trail. So it's definitely a big portion of the trail is to know your surroundings. But I just thought that was definitely a cool part of the Appalachian Trail. And also while you're on the trail, there's different openings like you can see in this photo right here, and there's different places you can stop like Comber Creek Falls where you can actually see how beautiful it really is. My mentors were Miss Charlotte LaFawn and Miss Yvette Peebler. Miss Peebler helped me out a lot when I was doing the research portion of the Appalachian Trail. So basically, she helped me gather all my information before I got out on the trail, but she also helped me a lot while I was on the trail as well. Now, Miss Charlotte LaFawn helped me out mainly on the trail, teaching me the different techniques of maintaining the trail, on different techniques on hiking the trail. But they were both a big help, and honestly, I couldn't do it without them. So honestly, they're literally, if it wasn't for them, I don't think I would have been able to get this project done. My project hours, I mainly focused on hiking the Appalachian Trail because my subject was entirely on through hiking the Appalachian Trail. But later on, I found out how much I loved conserving. That's why I want to throw it in there too. Because conserving, we didn't do a lot of conserving, and the only reason why I say that is because PATH does such a great job of maintaining the trail that when we got out there was still a little bit maintaining because trees and shrubs and stuff, they're always going to grow back. But for the most part, they do a great job at taking care of it. And like right here in this photo, you can actually see us hiking the trail. And this was part of this is one of the examples of actually changing terrains. So for instance, a lot of people think that the trail is just through the woods. You pass roads, creeks, different farmland. I mean, you can literally be running into any different terrain that you could possibly think of, you can encounter, which I thought was really cool because you get the chance to experience stuff that you wouldn't normally experience on a day-to-day basis. Product, I chose to do my products on a care package. Now, a care package is something that thru hikers use on the Appalachian Trail to resupply themselves. Most of them will send them out before they actually get out on the trail. You also can set it up so friends or family can send them out on the trail. Me, I wouldn't do that just because I know my friends and family, they're very forgetful, and I wouldn't want to be on a trail and nobody resupply me, so I would definitely make sure I sent it out prior. But as you can see in my care package that I made, I put a first aid kit, a set of Tums for when your stomach's upset, a Cliff Bar, a multi-tool, an emergency whistle with dry storage for matches. I also did an extra pair of socks for when your socks run out on a 6-month journey, bug spray, sunscreen, and dried scrambled eggs and bacon, which I'm actually going to try that after I do my presentation so I can get an experience of what these guys actually have to eat. So it'll definitely be a really cool experience. Project hours. Like I said, I spent a lot of my time hiking on the trail, but that doesn't mean I didn't conserve. You can see in this photo right here where the tree line is right where my head is. PATH uses basically a rule of thumb. If you can stick your hand out and up without touching any shrubs, then that's kind of where you want to leave it. But if it does touch you at all while you do that, then you definitely want to make sure you trim it back. And the reason for that is a lot of the thru hikers, they use big heavy backpacks that tower over them. And the problem with that is if you hit one of those branches and gets knocked over, one, you could get injured because it's about 80 extra weight to your body weight. So, I mean, that's a lot of weight to go down on you. And on top of that, it's not that easy to get back up. And as you can see in this photo, that's part of us hiking, and that's one of the part of the trails that's actually kind of paved, so you actually really know where you're going. Challenges, definitely physical challenges. Like I said, I've hiked before, but I got out there thinking that, hey, I've done this before, I was going to be good at it and stuff like that. But as you can see in this video, in Virginia, it's a whole different type of hiking because it's all uphill, it seems like. Eventually, there will be a downhill, but most of it for what we did was uphill. If you see in this video right here, we're literally spent a lot of the time just going uphill and it's not even that it's really steep, it's just a low in grade for a long distance. So you're just constantly going uphill. But it was a fun experience, and it gave you something, it gave you a sense of accomplishment when you were done. So I really can't complain about it. I enjoyed it as well. Successes, teamwork was one of the biggest successes that I found. Now, the reason why I say this is because right there is what they call a stile. They use them to get over the fences in the cow pastures. The reason why they do that is because they can't just leave them open for the cattle to get out. So there's two different types of stiles. There's an up and over, which that's what that one is, and then there's a zigzag style. Zigzag style goes back and forth, and basically the turns are so tight the cattle can't get through them. This one right here was an up and over, and this is a good example of teamwork. And the reason why I say that is because she was having a hard time getting over it with all your luggage and also your tools, which is understandable. I did too. Just in this photo, I didn't have somebody take a photo of me trying to get over it. So definitely it's complicated for even the most experienced hikers. But so we got to help each other out getting over obstacles like that. And sense of purpose, the reason why I did sense of purpose is because to me, most people think about it as trimming back hedges and stuff like that. You're not really doing that much of a good deed. But the way I look at it is you're basically paving the way for these hikers to get through, to make their goal in life. Because the thing is it is a big goal in life to make a 6-month journey. I mean, it's insane the amount of conditioning that these people go through and the amount of time that people put into their hike. For instance, a lot of these through hikers, they spend, I want to say about 1.5 years to 2 years just prepping themselves and planning before they actually go out on the trail. So it was definitely very interesting. And like I said, it gave me a sense of purpose because I know I'm helping somebody complete a major goal in their life. Nature is absolutely astonishing on the Appalachian Trail. You will see stuff that you'll never get to see in Morrisville. These are different plants and funguses. I took pictures of them because I just thought they were amazing. They look like something out of this world. They remind me of Star Wars, Avatar, but they were just absolutely cool pieces. And I actually love photography, so me and the Appalachian Trail and hiking, it just worked out great because there was just so many things to take pictures of. These are two other photos. This one's a little harder to see on the side, but basically it's a tree with mushrooms growing up it. The angle that I got the photo, I absolutely love. That was probably my favorite photo that I took on the app trail. And then this is just a really colorful mushroom. The picture doesn't do it justice. I mean, it literally looks like it's on fire in person, but it was just a really cool photo opportunity. Weather's definitely a big priority on the app trail, and the thing is it can change any second, so you got to be prepared for the worst. As you can see in this video, in just a second, you'll see how low the clouds are to the tree line and how quick they actually move. And you can also hear how peaceful it is on the Appalachian Trail. But as you can see, the clouds are actually moving right over the tree line. So it's amazing seeing stuff like that because you always look up in the sky and you usually don't see it move that quick unless there's a big storm. But up in the mountains, it's moving like that at all times. So it's just an amazing experience to see. Views are astonishing. You can see the whole mountain range of Virginia right there, and that was just breathtaking to me. That right there was the lookout where we got to actually look out and see the mountain range. So that was definitely a really cool experience for me. Now experiences, like I said before, I've been saying a lot, is experiences. Experiences on the Appalachian Trail I'll never forget. I'll keep those for the rest of my life. Right here is a picture of me next to what I thought was a cow at the time, but I actually later found out it was a bull when I got next to it. My friends coaxed me into getting next to it. They're like, oh, it'd be a great photo opportunity. But he was not too happy because we scared all the female cattle, so he wasn't too happy with us. So that was definitely a funny experience, but I loved it. And then right here is a picture of the first group that I went with to go on the hike on the Appalachian Trail. And we're stopped at a bridge for lunch, which the interesting thing about this one is that bridge is 5 feet above the water. But the crazy thing is the year before it actually flooded over the bridge. You couldn't even see the bridge anymore, which is absolutely insane to think that the water was that high. But it was definitely a really cool thing to learn about that portion of the trail. And now in these two pictures is a picture next to me next to wild ponies. Now these are actually in Grayson Highlands State Park in Virginia. And even if you're not a big hiker, I would definitely recommend going just because it's a really cool experience to get up and close to these animals because they're docile like dogs. You can go up to them, pet them like a dog, they'll come right up to you. It's just an amazing experience, and honestly, it's hard to keep a smile off your face around these animals. They're just so goofy. But they're great photo opportunities. On top of that, they love taking selfies, as you can see. They love getting in the photos. Right here is a piece of driftwood. I just thought it was really cool because one of the through hikers actually carved their initials into it. So it was kind of cool to know somebody actually went through there and left their mark to let you know that they were on there. And This right here is a picture of me going up a stile in the pouring down rain. Now I went up it perfectly fine, but I fell down it. So that's when it gets down to, you do certain things on the trail where you learn not to do it twice. That was one of the experiences that I learned not to do twice. It was definitely, it hurt, but I promise you it was a great experience. And like I said, I wouldn't change it any other day. Conclusion, my conclusion is I absolutely loved my project. I do it again. I'm so happy that Mooresville High School does the Capstone project. Originally I hated it when we first got into it. I thought I wasn't going to like it. But after doing this, I realized how helpful it is in life and the type of lessons it teaches you about teamwork, time management. It just helps you out so much in life and in professionalism too, because I get the opportunity to stand up in front of you guys and present myself and present my product. And it gives me a chance to actually share something that I'm very passionate about. So I loved it. I would do it again in a heartbeat. Honestly, I wish we had more stuff like this after graduation, but I honestly can say I absolutely loved my project. Questions?
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
How far is that trail? I've never been on.
How far is the trail?
Yeah.
Well, see, the cool thing about the Appalachian Trail, you don't have to hike the whole thing. They break it up in sections. So, for instance, you could start at one point and end on another. It just depends on what portion of the trail that you were on. Like, for instance, the ones that we were on, we probably went, I want to say maybe 5 miles on one, and then it would break up, you're back to a road again. But it's just a really cool experience. Now, like I said, you can hike it as long as you want, but most people, they just like going for the day hikes, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's absolutely gorgeous going out there.
Now, to do the full length of the Appalachian Trail, how many miles is that?
If I'm not mistaken, I want to say it was like 1,500 and something miles. I'm not 100% sure. I definitely should have touched up on that, but I just know it's a 6-month journey and it goes from Georgia to Maine. So you're definitely, the biggest problem is a lot of people get on the trail and they just want to hike it. But the thing is like I said, there's a lot of preparation that goes into it, because if you start at the wrong time of year, you could be caught up in Maine in winter, and that's not a good time to be up in Maine. I love Maine and all, but winter is not one of my strong points up there. But it's definitely, it's a very long and extensive trail, and a lot of experienced people even have a hard time doing it. But it's not to say that people haven't tried it, though, that are inexperienced. I was actually reading an article on 2 elderly gentlemen. They retired and they wanted to basically do something to make them feel young again. They actually completed the entire Appalachian Trail. It was pretty impressive too, because they were like 70-something years old. It was insane. I was impressed. I hope I can do that when I'm 70.
In your paper, you said that you learned some life lessons. Just give me 2 examples. What would these life lessons learn?
Life lessons is no matter how hard it can be on the, like for instance, I learned this on the trail, no matter how hard it could be, because when we first got on the trail, I'll be completely honest, I was complaining because I was like, man, this is all uphill. But the thing is it taught me a sense of, even though it's tough, it's so much worth it. It's so much more worth it in the end, because you feel like you accomplished something. Nothing's supposed to be given to you in life, and it's not right if it's given to you life, because the thing is you, like I said, you have a sense that you actually earned something. It gives you a purpose in life, knowing that you completed something. So that was one of the biggest takes that I took off of it. And then another thing is the teamwork behind it. Like I said, I just thought, hike it, that's over. But the thing is we were in the different obstacles where you got to help out other fellow teammates, and I got to make new friends on the trail. A lot of the people that I went on the trip with, I didn't know prior, and now I'm good friends with them. So I mean, it just gave a great opportunity to meet people and also build some life lessons.
Do you think you'll continue? Do you ever want to through hike the Appalachian Trail?
Yep. I was actually planning on, after I did my hours, I was actually planning on trying to do it in the this actual summer. I was going to try to do it, but the thing is, I had a summer job lined up, and they're going to pay me a lot of money. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay my car off, and then maybe later down the road I might try and attempt it, because the thing is like, it was like an impulse thing, like, oh, I would like to do this, but like I said, it takes about 1.5 to 2 years to prep yourself, so I definitely would need some time to get ready for it, but I definitely hope I can complete it someday, because that's a major accomplishment.
So what are your plans after graduating?
After graduating, like I said, I'm going to go work at Niagara Bottling as a production manager so I can get my car paid off for the summer. And then after that, I'm planning on going to Mitchell for 2 years, and then probably finishing out at ECU. I'm going to go for psychology. Psychology and business are the 2 that I'm going to try and get through in life. So it'll be definitely cool. And through psychology, I'll decide whether I want to do the entire thing. For instance, my sister's going for her full degree in psychology. She's going for 12 years, so she can open up her own practice, which is a major accomplishment, but I got to decide if that's what I want to do. Everybody's different, but either way, though, psychology and business, they're great things. They can get you a lot of different jobs. So.
Thank you very much. You're at 14 minutes.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Just take that.
Oh, yeah.